Let's talk Truboo. This is going to be my very honest review of this very interesting yarn so that you can make a decision whether or not you want to purchase this yarn. Let's start with the basics. This is Truboo. It is made by Lion Brand Yarns. It is a 100% rayon from bamboo. So basically it's a bamboo yarn. The skein comes with 3.5 ounces, 100 grams, 241 yards. It is a 3 weight, which means it's a DK, and it is recommended to use a 4mm crochet hook. And if you're a knitter, 4mm needles. Not that I'm a knitter, I don't know what that means. Machine wash, cool, gentle cycle, lay flat to dry. So you can wash it in the machine, just don't dry it. So that's all good stuff. The feel of this is freaking amazing, and that's why so many people are drawn to this. It feels so amazingly soft. It's like heaven in the hands. Like if I could knit with this or crochet, if I could crochet with just this kind of feeling yarn, like if all of my yarn felt this amazing, I would be on cloud 9. I would never stop crocheting. But that is not the end of the story. So that is probably the number one. And see, I'm touching it, I'm rubbing it. It's so soft, I can't stop. If you are a tactile person, this yarn is heaven from that perspective. But that's not the end of the story. There's more to it than just how it feels in the skein or even how it feels in a finished project. So here's my research. I did this top, the Citrine top, and this top, which is the Harbor Cardigan by the Northern Moose. The Citrine top was not designed to be used with this yarn, but I got gauge, and so I used this yarn because I wanted something super soft. The Harbor Cardigan was designed using the Truboo yarn. So let's talk about my overall results and my thoughts and my opinions on this very interesting yarn. The first thing that I made was the Citrine top, and it was so, I had such a mixed vibe making this because the yarn felt so amazing in my hands, and as I was stitching with it, it felt great. This was a very loose sort of pattern, so I did have some splitting issues, but they were not terrible. Enough to notice, but not enough to say, oh, I'm never going to use this yarn again. Worked through the whole project, and when I finished it, I'm like, well, that's not so bad. I did have a few issues, but I kind of love the yarn. And then I wore this top for 2 hours. And after wearing it for 2 hours, it started to become, I don't think you can see this, but it grew about an inch in 2 hours. For real. And I had blocked it and everything. So this yarn is known for growing. It sounds weird to say that, but it has a lot of stretch to it. So I'm like, well, maybe it's just because I made something that was not designed to be used for that. So I still have some more Truboo. I still have I had 4 skeins of the thistle and 3 skeins of the light pink. So let me just try a pattern. I really want a cardigan I can wear around the house. So I'll make something with it that was designed to be made with it. So it's lightweight, it feels great, and we'll see kind of a side-by-side comparison. So I started making this, and because I only had 3 of the thistle and I needed just a little bit more of that, I sort of decided to kind of do a pattern coloring, do some color work to add the pink in so that I could make a little bit, I could stretch it, and not stretch it in that way, stretch the amount of yarn. I needed more yarn than what I had. So that's basically, I didn't have enough of the purple, so I had to supplement with the pink. So this is what I kind of came up with in that regard. This is a tighter stitch than this is. So I immediately noticed a lot more splitting in this, and it was much more challenging to do the stitches without catching the here. Let me see if I can show you. So I'm going to get close and hopefully this focuses for you, but you can see here that this yarn, it gets really frayy, and that, as you're crocheting, really comes out. You can kind of pull those, just accidentally grab one of those little pieces, and then all of a sudden you have a snag in your design. So that wasn't good. I started to notice that a lot. The other thing that I started to notice, because I was doing a lot more color work in this, is that fraying shows up a lot when you're tying ends. So there is no way to really weave in the ends because this is such a soft yarn. At least, I don't know. I'm not the expert on weaving in ends. If you know of a way that can really hide the frayed ends, let me know, because I have not figured that out. But you will see little pieces, no matter where it is, kind of throughout this, that they just sort of stick out. And even though they're tied off very, very well, they're always going to kind of peep out. Which sort of then also leads me to the point that there are so many tied in knots in one skein. Like, it's insane. Like 4 or 5 times in one skein I would come across where they tied it, and even their ties were frayed and ugly and just, you know, not conducive to the beauty of this yarn. So it's knotty, it's splitty. I did figure out, like, normally my traditional, I can tie a very, very, very snug square knot and get that knot to slip out. There is no way. This yarn is so slippery that every square knot I tied was impossible to keep it tied. So I ended up going with magic joins because those would at least, those wouldn't slip out. The magic join was a much more effective knot overall. And I did figure out that I could cut the ends much closer so it didn't fray quite as much. So when I was doing the color changes, I just, instead of kind of switching, I did the magic join and then cut really close, and fingers crossed that holds. I mean, I gave it a serious tug test even after I cut the frayed edges off, and I'm pretty sure that's going to hold. So that's just kind of a nice tip for you, is if you're going to do this, use magic joins, and then you can kind of cut the edges a little bit closer. So that's one thing I learned overall using this yarn. So we've got the frayed knots, we've got the splittiness, we've got the incredible growth. And this I'm going to wear around the house, so I really don't care. I actually really wanted to have this as a nice sort of be able to leave the house kind of top, but let me just show you. This is an example of that growth. When I started, this was probably close to about here, and it's grown, I would say, a good inch. And so now, you know, I mean, I can probably stitch this up a little bit, but because it's got the the cute little sleevelet kind of thing. It's not going to look right if I try and stitch it up at this point. And honestly, I'm not sure I have enough of this color left to do that, but I don't know. I mean, it's soft. It feels amazing. I wore this around the house a couple of days ago. It is definitely one of my favorite feels of a yarn, and it has that going for it beyond anything else. I mean, it just feels amazing next to your skin. It is so soft and luxurious. Does that outweigh all of the negatives? I don't know. You got to judge that. I don't think, honestly, that I will be using this yarn again. I think I've just sort of tapped out on my interest in it, even though it is so super soft. I can find other soft yarns that are not this wonky. But let me give you some overall tips if you do decide to use this yarn. First of all, you can use it directly from the skein like this. That works okay. If you kind of start getting, like if you pull out some yarn barf and you want to wind it, I'm telling you, a cake is not going to work for this. It is too slippery to use a yarn winder and do a cake. It just falls completely apart. So in that case, you are going to want to make this into a ball of yarn. Cakes just aren't going to be effective in this case. So that's one tip. The other tip is to really practice with your stitches. I have read that this is a great yarn for advanced crocheters because they have the ability to crochet without catching their yarn. They have the ability to crochet tight enough. And maybe because I'm not an amigurumi crocheter, maybe if I were a tighter crocheter, it would not have as much growth, possibly. I mean, it's got beautiful drape. Drape is definitely on the positive side. So if we're doing that kind of checklist, we've got softness, we've got drape, and then on the negative side, if we switch to negatives, we've got the knots, we've got the splittiness, we've got the growth. We've got 3 negatives, 2 positives. I don't think I'm going to be using this again. I do have 1 skein left. I don't know if I'm going to use it or if I'm going to end up giving this to somebody or selling it. I mean, it is amazingly soft. Maybe I'll just keep it as a stuffed animal and just rub on it whenever I need a little self-love, because it does feel amazing, and I just don't know that it's worth. Maybe I'll try again when I am 2 more years into crocheting, and maybe I'll be a better crocheter, and then it will not be a beginning process. It will be a, hey, and now I'm an intermediate crocheter, and who knows? We'll see. For now, I would not put this in the beginning category. Maybe an intermediate yarn usage, but certainly not for the faint of heart. Let me know, have you used this yarn? What do you think? I gotta know. And if you like me doing these yarn reviews, let me know. I'd like to actually probably do these on a regular basis because I know I love yarn reviews and I think it might be really beneficial to you. So let me know if you enjoyed this, and we will talk soon. Hey Farah, get us out of here.